I've lived inside of an Astro van for a month, and today I'm giving you a tour of that van. My name is Bronson, and this is Fred, my 2001 Chevy Astro Van all-wheel drive that I've self-converted into the most capable and awesome camper van I possibly could. I mean, seriously, have you ever seen an Astro van that looks this cool? Like I said before, I've been living in this bad boy for the past month, traveling across southern Utah and northern Arizona. And let me tell you, it has taken me on some insane places that I never expected a van to be able to get to. I've got to some crazy campsites, some amazing ruins through dirt roads that this van has taken me on. And that's thanks to things like this yellow lining that doesn't scratch, and this 6-inch lift that gives me plenty of ground clearance. There might be a little bit of sag due to all the weight inside, but that's an issue for another day. The lift kit and the paint job are actually the only two things that I kept the same from the previous owner when I bought this van. Everything else you're gonna see on this entire build was custom made by yours truly. Before Fred became Fred, he was an overwhelming nightmare of yellow. And I know what you're thinking, he's still yellow all over. But anything you see black on this build right now used to be yellow. Everything. It was overwhelming. So I decided to paint a whole lot of him black to make him a little more sexy. That ranged from the grille, front and back bumper, the side mirrors, the door handles, the wheels, the roof rack, and even around the license plate. All that gave Fred a whole new look that I liked a whole lot better than the original one. Here's a picture of the original. That way you can kind of do a little bit of a comparison. Fred has 29-inch tires, and it is the all-wheel drive model. And if you don't know what all-wheel drive is, it's basically knockoff four-wheel drive that is not as handy, especially for off-roading, but it's what I got. Back here on Fred's butt, we have got an old World War II ammo can that I welded up myself and bolted straight onto the back of this sucker. And it works excellent for storing a whole bunch of stuff. Inside, I've got a tow strap, jumper cables, a tire repair kit, ratchet straps, and even a whole bunch of bungees. Basically all the essentials. With Fred, there is legitimately never a dark moment due to not one, not two, not three, but 6 light bars atop my roof rack that light up absolutely everything when it's dark outside. Pair that with my headlights that are LEDs, and it is like daylight outside. And that brings me to the next section of my build on the exterior, which is how I get up onto my roof rack. My ladder that I cut, welded, bent, and installed all on my roof rack by myself. And I actually think it turned out pretty much perfect, which is surprising. It's even got this cute little shovel on here. Look at that thing. It looks cool. I've used it a total of once, but I have it. And here is the roof rack. Up here I've got my storage, which holds my backpacking backpack, some solar shower parts, a dry bag, some camera gear, my wetsuit, and my snorkeling gear. My 200-watt solar panel, which is absolutely incredible when it's not lying on the ground broken. Yes, that happened. As you can see, it is completely shattered and unfixable. I've got my solar shower, which holds approximately 3.5 gallons, and it works excellent when it's summer and not winter out. Up here, I've got my main light bar with a windshield to protect the solar panel from flying off. On this side, I've got a 270-degree awning, which folds out here and comes back there like that. I custom made that myself. And this is the top of my fan. You'll see that later on the inside. This engine is an absolute hog. And by that, I mean it has little power and it has a giant appetite. This is a 4.3-liter V6 engine with about 200-ish horsepower, and it gets about 15 miles per gallon on a good day, which is not ideal because I'm broke. $123,000 miles. That's what this baby's got. When I bought this van, it had 119,000 miles on it. So since I bought it about 9 or 10 months ago, I've put like 4,000 miles on it, and it's been super reliable so far. You know, other than the lack of maintenance from the other person, which resulted in an all-wheel drive issue, an overheating issue, a few electrical issues, and just some other stupid little bugs that I didn't want to work out. Take care of your vehicles, people. But yeah, other than that, this van is pretty much as new as a 22-year-old vehicle gets. Over here, I've got an Apple CarPlay stereo with a rear view camera. If I put it in reverse. Camera. It kind of sucks though. Not a huge fan of that. And listen to this stereo. Sounds like a dream. What? A backwards chair? Heck yeah. It's on a swivel too, so I could flip it around if I wanted to. While I was traveling, I would still have to edit videos. This chair saved my life because sitting on a computer for hours at a time inside of a van is not easy. But luckily, I had somewhere to do it, thankfully. In between my seats right here, I have this 12-volt fridge/freezer, and this thing was awesome. I usually kept it at about 34 degrees, and it kept all my meat, my vegetables, tortillas, everything. It kept it cold. Milk, lifesaver right here. Good for food storage, good for keeping things cold, good for having good meals, and it hardly took up much power at all. So this is a worthy investment. And as you can see, there's a ton of room in there. It's awesome. Welcome to my pride and joy of this build, the interior. And for good reason, because every single aspect of the inside of this was done by these two hands right here. When I bought this van 9 months ago, there was a completely different build inside of here. It was crap. Straight up crap. So I gutted it completely down to the bare bones, and I started from scratch. I mean, it was down to the bare metal, and I built it into this glorious masterpiece that is home now. And here is my kitchen. I've got a 2-burner propane stove here that works absolutely amazing. I've got a sink. I've got a faucet, which is a 12-volt electric faucet. Super nice. I don't have water right now. I've got some spice racks. This is where I keep my frozen olive oil. That's interesting. And some towels. I've probably cooked about 30 meals on this stove by now because I cooked every single night that I traveled. I didn't ever eat out once, so I traveled for a month and I cooked for a month, meaning about 30 days. Hola! Above my kitchen, I have got kitchen storage. We'll start on this side because it's a mess. But over here, I have got kind of my soap and toothbrush and all that stuff, vitamins. Over here, I've got bowls and towels, and I kind of move into utensils. This area is a complete mess, and that's because there's no room, and stuff doesn't fit, and I'm a messy person. But I know where stuff's at. In the first drawer below the kitchen, I have got food storage. Ooh, fancy food. As you can see, I've got an assortment of food, dry storage mostly. But I've also got a cutting board right there. This definitely gets to be the most messy area of the whole build because there's a lot of food that's got to go in there, especially when I get groceries, and there's, as you can tell, very little storage. And it's pretty much empty right now compared to what it has been. This is the electrical, which is slightly less messy, but it probably looks messy to you because there's a lot in here. But yes, an electrical system. This is the powerhouse of my van. And there's a ton of stuff in here and a ton of wires. This electrical system is probably pretty confusing for a lot of you guys, so I'll break it down as simple as I can. I've got 2 batteries, which add up to 200 amp hours. They last me plenty. And I have 2 ways to charge the battery. From the solar panel you saw on the top, 200-watt solar panel, and then from the engine. So while the car is running, I have a controller that charges the batteries from the car's battery. It works great. Aside from the batteries, which is a 12-volt system, I also have an inverter. So I'm able to have 120-volt power, just like inside of your house. Pretty nice. I'm able to charge my laptop, and that's kind of all I use it for, actually. Most of everything you see in here, like the lights and USB, stuff like that, the sink, is all ran off 12 volts, so straight from the batteries. If you're wanting to know a little bit more about the electrical system and how I did all this and what it all means, I've got a video somewhere right here. I'll pop it up. That way you can go watch it, and I've got everything you need to know about this whole electrical system and pretty much how to do it all. So if you're interested in that for doing your own build or just out of curiosity, go ahead and check that out. Coming over here, we have got the main storage area. Ah, the storage area. Such a lovely, lovely place. I'll start up here on the first bin of the 3. This first bin is for my electrical, like battery powered stuff and my gadgets. So I'll go through the 3 layers of the first layer. This first one is kind of just for some smaller stuff. I have some ammunition, some batteries, pretty much kind of just miscellaneous stuff that I don't use a lot. On the second level, I have my book and some other miscellaneous stuff. Most of the time I do have like a normal book I read, and then the book I write in, or one or two of them. And that's where I keep them, is on the second level. And again, I have 4 USB ports, so plenty of room to charge stuff up there. And then on the very bottom level is generally where I store my laptop, my camera, my iPad, basically the big stuff that I charge often. And I don't have it in here right now because I'm home for a while fixing some stuff up and enjoying the holidays with family. But if they were in here, that's where they'd be. With all of this power, I've got, you know, the 120 volts. I've got 4 USB ports and a 12-volt port right here. With all of those, I'm able to charge everything I have in my van all at once, pretty much. Which I've never needed to do that, but I'm able to do it. This clothes bin has been a love-hate relationship. It looks small, to be honest with you, but it holds a lot of clothes. Compared to what I would have expected, it holds a lot more than I actually need. I don't even fill it up all the way when I have all my clothes in there. Right now, as you can see, it's pretty empty, but that thing is like a stink holder. My dirty clothes, they get, of course, stinky as anyone's does, and it doesn't air out. And I even have this awesome little net that holds all the clothes in. Plus, look, I can put stuff in between. So that's pretty cool. Coming down here to the 3rd level, I have shoe storage and a little bit of window covers. But this is super nice because it's on the ground, meaning when my shoes are dirty, the dirt stays on the ground. And it's a lot easier to clean up. But that's just a nice little storage area. There's not a whole bunch down there, but mostly it's just shoes. And now for the bed. This bed is amazing, except for it isn't. The sleeping bag is awesome. It's kept me warm in 15-degree weather. It's saved my life. This blanket on top, my mom made. Absolutely perfect. I mean, look at that stuff. Oh, that is perfect. My mom made both the pillowcase and this blanket. Perfect addition to the van. I love it. The thing I hate about this bed is neither of those two things. It's underneath the stupid bed. I bought this mattress at Home Depot for 25 bucks, and it has been instant back pain every night. Not really. I'm young, so it doesn't hurt that bad. But it's uncomfortable. I've got to be honest, for $25, it was a pretty good deal. That's what I should expect. But it's still uncomfortable. Any of you guys watching this have an idea of where to get a decent mattress for cheap? Leave a comment, because I need a new mattress. Now that my bed's gone, I can show you this a little better. I have got some access panels to underneath my bed. Pretty cool. Inside the first one, we have got my pots and pans. I have got my little buddy heater, which I've used a few times to keep me warm at night. I've got an extra propane stove for when that one runs out of propane. I have done that twice now. I'm not proud of it. My propane's running out. No! That propane just went out. And just some other spare stuff in here that I don't use a ton, but, you know, it's helpful to have. Like this jar of peanut butter. You can't go wrong with peanut butter, but you can go wrong without it. I can also access it from right here when my bed is on there. And most of the time I actually use this door because it's more convenient than taking my bed apart. In my second hole, I have it stuffed to the brim with tools. I have a large assortment of tools, which, as you can see, is right against the wheel well. That is the wheel well, but it is stuffed to the brim, so I'm not gonna take all of that stuff out. Basically, I have all the tools I need to be able to replace just about anything on the van if it breaks down. The third access panel, I put hinges on, fancy, and it has access to my 4-foot long drawer that goes from about here to the back and slides out that way. So when I have these back 2 doors open, I can slide that drawer out. But when it's closed and it's nighttime and I don't want to get out, I have this little access panel in case I want to get in here, which I've never actually used it, but as you can see, there's quite a bit of storage in there. So if there's ever something that I really needed to get out and I really couldn't get out to get it, I've got that. Now, how about that for some storage, huh? Not bad? Not bad? That's pretty big, man. And this is my 4-foot long drawer. This thing stores a ton of stuff, as you can clearly see. These slides right here were the most expensive part of this. These were $180 for this side and this side. It's a pair. And they can hold, I think, 200 pounds of weight. So if I was to stand right here with my full body weight plus all this gear, theoretically, this would not break. The drawer slides. I don't know about the wood. I don't dare test it because what if it broke? I can store a lot of gear in that 4 feet. And all I have to do to close it is push it back in. And it has automatic stoppers. So I just pull this button up. Oh, maybe that one. Kind of hard with the camera in my hand. And it goes right back in. And it's locked. So I am unable to pull that out or move it from where it's at until I pull those things up. By pulling these up, it unlocks it, and I'm able to pull it out into the whole drawer. Pushing it back in, it'll stop right about there. Pull those pins up again, and it'll close, and it's locked. Up here, I have a fan. And it is pretty fancy. If I press this button right there, oh, maybe, it opens all by itself and the fan kicks on. You can see it up there going open. And yeah, it works. It's a fan. But I can also press another button and it'll stop and switch directions. So I can either have air pushed in or I can have air sucked out. That's probably the fanciest thing on this whole build. Back on. So on this side, I was unable to bring my drawer far enough over, so I kind of had some dead space. And so I have got some precious cargo in here. Mainly toilet paper. But besides that, I've got the rest of my tools and some fishing poles. So that's where I kind of store that stuff. This side is also full of treasures. I have got even more important stuff, including toilet paper, but mostly I've got my water storage, more water storage, propane, and a collapsible bathroom. So most of the time while I'm traveling, I have been able to either use the woods or use a public restroom as a bathroom. But in the case that I don't have one, this is my bathroom. It's a it's a collapsible bucket. I can throw a Walmart sack in there and yeah, you get the gist. So this is my propane and my propane hookup, which as you can see goes through the wall and eventually connects to that. This is the bottom of my sink, and as you can see I have it plumbed down and it kind of just goes down right there. And it drains out below my wheel. You can see it, oh, maybe right there. So my water just leaks out onto the ground. I'd rather have a gray tank, that way I could choose when I dump my water. If I can't have a bathroom, I'm not gonna have gray water either. Here is my water pump and all this hosing, and I connect it right there. So I have it disconnected now so it doesn't freeze because it's cold where I am. But normally I'd have it hooked up about like that and it'd suck water through and out the faucet right here when I flip that switch. But yeah. I just sucked water up too. Whoop. See? I wanted to leave this area open instead of having a door on it. That way I'm easily able to access either my water and my propane, because I do need to fill those up quite regularly, especially my water. So I figured there was no reason to really put a door on this, even though it'd probably look better in the end. So I ended up just putting another one of these nets. It doesn't really keep anything in because nothing would fall out, maybe other than this, but it looks better. That's pretty much the only reason I have that there. These two doors are actually hollow for the most part. So as you can see, I've got some storage inside there. I just have like a shovel and a hatchet and what's that called? A hammer. That's kind of what I have in there. Some hiking stuff. And then on this side, I didn't really want to do the same as that side because I've got this license plate holder in there. And as you can see, it's indented. So I left that how it was, and I just put this little, whatever it's called, I don't know, you see it. But yeah, I got some storage on the back there too, which has actually been really convenient. So while I was traveling, I camped in hotel parking lots, I camped at rest areas, I camped at a lot of public places like Walmart even, that there's a lot of people walking around at night, and I did not want them looking in the windows. And so I needed to be able to do something that would keep them out of there. And so I built some window covers, because as you can see right in the van when the lights are on and it's dark out. I mean, look at that. You can see right in there. Hi. Because of that mischievous little problem, I created my own homemade window covers featuring the mountains and some deer. I made these so I would not need any magnets, any Velcro, anything sticky. I made them just so I can push them right into the window, and just like that, they stick. That covers the window pretty much perfectly, and no light escapes. Now I just got to throw that back one on. I just got a curtain. And look at that. A fully closed up safe from people and creepers and everything and homeless people. A nice place to relax and just enjoy my day. And I can turn this light off even if it's late at night. And I've got a dimmer light here, so I can just turn the lights way down low and chill in here with just a little bit of light. It's pretty nice. In the past month of me traveling around, I actually haven't had any problems with people bothering me while I'm trying to camp somewhere. And I've camped in some places where I probably wasn't supposed to. Yeah, no one ever bothered me, and I assume it's because this system must work with these window covers between that one and there, and just keeping my lights dimmed down. I assume that works good enough that people don't bother me and they don't know I'm in here. So now that you've seen the whole van and the whole build and kind of what it's all about, I guess it's time for me to share kind of what I like and what I don't like. And the honest truth is, at this point, is I pretty much love everything about this van. When I was building this, I fully expected to find something that I really, really hated about this build. And honestly, so far, it's been super, super minor things that like don't matter hardly at all. And that is a dream come true. But there are two major things right now that I definitely do. It does drive me nuts a little bit. Just two things though, out of the whole build, two things. We'll start with the first one, which is pretty minor. I'm not gonna fix it because it's not worth the hassle. And that is the doors for my food storage and the electrical. They just open on the wrong side, and that's it. They open inwards instead of the opposite way, and it just kind of makes it annoying to open them and reach around the door instead of being able to just reach right in. And that'll make sense because I'll overlay this with some B-roll and you'll see it. But that one's not super bad. I mean, I deal with it, and I've kind of got used to it at this point, so it's not really a problem. But the second one is a problem. My second problem deals with the rear suspension. As you can imagine, this build has a lot of weight. Yeah, between the wood, the water, the batteries, all my gear, myself, it weighs a lot. So the front suspension, it's up just fine, but the back suspension, it sags a little bit. It's kind of hard to tell unless if you're at the right angle, but when I've been off-roading, sometimes I'm going along and I'll notice that the back tire will hit the fender right about there. And it has actually been taking little teeny cuts and nicks inside of my tire. Not enough to do a bunch of damage, but enough that I don't really want that to happen. So that is something that I definitely do want to fix before I hit the road again in like a month from now. They have airbag suspension, and I'm hoping that I can get some airbag suspension for this and lift the back up. Keep those airbags full all the time. That way the suspension isn't so saggy all the time. If you're watching this video because you're interested in doing your own Astro Van conversion, I hope you were able to see a little bit about what I did, and hopefully it inspires you to do a little bit of your own build. As far as the Astro Van goes, is using it for a camper like I have. Depending on how you do the build, it can carry all of your gear. I mean, it'll be a bit stuffy, it'll be full, but it'll carry all your gear. You can clearly have a sink, you can have a stove, you can have the nice luxury of a bigger van and a smaller van, and this is much cheaper. Overall on this build, I spent just over $10,000 for the vehicle, for the build, for everything. I think a Sprinter van, I was looking it up on the internet, the average price for a Sprinter van, just for the build, is like $100,000 or something like that. Something outrageous, and this is 10 grand. So it's budget friendly, it's nice to get around, it'll store all your stuff, it's perfect for just traveling around as a single person. If you have any comments, if you have any questions, if you have any concerns, make sure to leave a comment and I will make sure to answer, because I know van build and van questions can be confusing. I'm here to help. I will answer your questions, so make sure to leave a comment. So as for me, I will be traveling down to the Death Valley area in Joshua Tree National Park area of California and eventually into Arizona in about a month from now. So if you are interested in seeing some of my travels in this bad boy right here, make sure to subscribe. That way you can follow along on my adventures and see me travel. I do a lot of cool stuff, exploring where not a lot of people go, especially in a van like this. So if you're interested in seeing some content that you might not see all the time, this is the place. I think that's gonna wrap up this video. Thanks for watching, you guys, and I'll see you all next time.